Are you familiar with geodes? Geodes are pretty cool rock. When I was a kid, my brother got a rock collection. We got and it was meant to kind of be for all of us-ish kind of deal, but he would get that, or he got a chemistry set, got an electronic set, got a set to go with a microscope that had a bunch of real cool slides with it, and mulberry pollen. And you're like, what the hell does that look like? And it looked like fireworks. It's incredible. But one thing that I thought that was real incredible that my dad just had sitting over on a desk as a paperweight that had a pin stuck in it because you could fit one in there, and it had kind of a groove down there you could kind of poke your finger into like that and set a pin coming out of it. And it was, I guess, size of a baseball or a little larger, and looked like this. This one's real cool because it's blue in its outer rim and got a little bit of the amethyst purple in the inside of it. But it's a strange formation. It comes from a Greek word, and so you get geo, and this is of the world, and so you can imagine somebody cracking that open and going, well, that's kind of how the world, I guess, looks. The only problem is in the very center of the earth there's molten magma, and it pushes up the crust that are on the earth. And I guess the blue that you're seeing there is either in your mind the atmosphere that's around it or the water that is there. But blue is kind of rare to find in them, and a lot of times you'll find tans and greens. This one that I had that was my dad's had white, tans, and greens in it and swirls. And one side of it was used by my dad over in the service to make jewelry out of. And he had actually gone to this area near this mountain, was an ancient volcanic blah blah blah, and found it, along with a few others. And they took them and put them on a cutter and sliced them open just like this. And he picked one out of the group, and they ended up chipping the agate and mineral formation and making my mom a set of necklace and matching earrings that went out of it. And it was pretty cool. It was one of the things that he did in the service during his off time, so he didn't do a bunch of other things, I guess. And he actually made this jewelry for her and a bunch of different stuff. Even one of the things he got was a matched set of fire opals, and made a necklace out of that too. But that all got stolen with a burglary and so on. But geode's pretty weird here. For its, how can this form inside of a ball? How does this work? Well, geode begins as a molten volcanic flow, and when it begins to harden, gases form bubbles, which are outer shell of the geode, and the gas and minerals then begin to form the inner surface of the geode. The outer shell consists of limestone or dolomite, clay, or hard stone. Inward you find amethyst, citrine, clear quartz, calcite, chalcedony, or other minerals growing. Towards the center, geodes usually range in size from 1 inch to 2 feet, on rather rare occasions as large as 6 feet or more. And you can find ones of these that are this orchid bluish purple color that they have, and ones that they've found that are in Moroccan area that they have there from the ancient volcano that had taken off in that area, out there in that Atlas Mountains area. And they're huge and purple. One thing that I saw not too long ago at a mall near here where they have this incredible rock shop is in their display. They have a piece that's, it's a little over 2 foot tall, and they wanted like $1,700 for it. They had some other ones for $300 to $700 that are, a foot tall and things, but you wouldn't believe the beauty of these things. So this rim, though, that's here, let me tell you about this. You can see how it swirls. And so you can imagine after you got a piece out of there clarifying, well, what he did was he cut pieces that were rounded like this, but they were sideways cut into that. And so when you looked at it, it had a layer effect to it that was semi-clear, and it had that greenish color and semi-clear, and then it was tannish color. And looking at it head on, it had a little bit of an eyeball effect but real dilated eyeball, if you will. But the more you looked at them at an angle, it was pretty neat how they all went through. And my mom had these things, and I think she wore a couple of them maybe twice, 3 times in my whole life, because she never did go to fancy galas, and this stuff was rather fancy. But you always get comments on it, and she'd tell them, "Oh, Don made that." Yep, when he was in the service over da da da, a lot of the servicemen got together and did all kinds of things. He also made the earrings. See how they match? It was pretty neat. But he had taken in from a guy as an apprentice type situation to do all these things. And they made money off of my dad for doing it, and got extra geodes and things and a lot of other minerals that they had too. But it was pretty cool. You use the thing here. So what he did was the back side of that, he chopped off flat too. And so even though this was flat topped, he cut the bottom at an angle so it made it lean like that, along with that hole being down like that, and you'd stick a pin in it. Yeah, one of those little fancy cross pins. Wouldn't use it. It's just there. But there's some pretty neat ones of them. If you look through these guys, they have these ones that, I mean, literally bloodstone-ish looking in the center of them and things like that. I always thought it was pretty neat. And they make this clock out of a giant piece of one right there. And so you can see that bluish swirls that are in there, and it comes to that crystal. Now they've sliced it off, made jewelries out of it. Well, there's one type of them too that they call a dragon egg. That's another name for these guys here. And you can find at rock shops and stuff little cut off slivers of them like this, of ones. I've got one that's kind of like this, but it's got a little more dark blue like that in it, and the turquoise. And the very, very center is crystal, but there's a hole in it, and it's made into a dream catcher. So, see if I can show you one of those real exotic ones that are purple like this. So there's that royal color of the Phoenicians, and you find that color around the Mediterranean, more near Morocco and things. There's another purple that's there. Look at this magenta, bright colored one. And so there's all these different colors. And if you look at that agate geode or stone marbling swirl that's in there, it's pretty incredible. And that's just from a volcano, blah, threw up this thing, and it makes this ball. And because it's still on fire, it gases inside of it, makes a hollowed out area. And over time, these minerals all form in the center of it. It's pretty neat, huh? Anyhow, I thought I would just talk about that. My dad had that thing, and there's kind of a connection to it, a geode. And I don't think a lot of people know about geode stones. When you hear about amethyst and agates and things like that that they get, and a lot of that is gotten from that, and just that part of it chipped out from it. There's one of those standing ones there that looks a lot like that one that was expensive, but it was purple. Here we go. Something like that they were selling for like $3.50. Yeah, looks like a little wizard's cap that's purple, huh? But they had this other one that's real tall. Something like this, with its own little, iron stand for it and everything. There you go, something like this. They wanted $777 for it. That's probably 2 foot tall. They have other ones. There's some of that fire red geode that's in ones, but it's just trapped inside of a rock. And when you find that rock, it just looks like a rock. Just kind of rounded rock. But if you pop it open, wow, there's a treasure inside. Like the world's first Fabergé egg concept. They're pretty neat. You're going to see these dragon eggs in septum that they have too. For they've taken, it's more of a teardrop shape that they found, and then they've taken away the stone all except for a little bit on the outside, and so it looks like a cracked dragon egg. Oh, let me, what's it called? Septum, is that it? It means partition. Oh, you're not going to see that. Dragon egg. Yeah, so the septum is the thing in between your nasal passages, too, that's on there. So here's this idea of a septarian egg, Game of Thrones style, this, that, and the other, and how they're trapped in between. People say it's septum and it has to do with seven, and that's not necessarily true. That's supposed to be the number of cracks that they see running through it and things like that, and that's not necessarily true, but that is part of the sacred knowledge that goes along with these things. Yeah. Stones, Easter eggs, dragon eggs. Yep. Some of them, they've got a little cracked open area and then they show you the inside of it too. So it's just like a Fabergé egg. Pretty neat. Geology. The world. Geo. Key. Peace.